Conor Benn's deal with Dana White has got the whole world of boxing talking. But what many people are not talking about is the red flags that surround this whole deal. So in this video, I'm going to break down why I believe this deal is probably a huge mistake for Conor Benn and Dana White. But before we do that, Conor Benn recently came out and has had his say. Have a look.
Ultimately, I sit down here and I go, love me or hate me, I do what I think's right at all costs. You know, this is a bold decision that I've made. And I think in life, you have to make these decisions.
Look, I don't think people are upset or are criticizing Conor Benn because he decided to take a different deal. I think what people are upset and are criticizing Conor Benn for is the fact that he wasn't a man enough to pick up the phone and tell Eddie Hearn that he was going to take the deal with Dana White and give Eddie Hearn the opportunity to counter that offer, right? Because he is a business partner with Eddie Hearn. And what you do is you give your business partner every opportunity to see what it can do with an offer that has been put on the table. And Conor Benn was not man enough to do that. So he's not receiving criticism because he took a different deal. He's receiving criticism because he did not respect his business partner in Eddie Hearn and did not show the loyalty that he has been shown over the years by Eddie Hearn. And now the red flags. Look, on paper, this deal looks fantastic. And as Conor Benn said himself in a number of videos that he's done recently, that you would be a crazy person to not take this deal, because from what I am hearing, this deal is worth 14 or 16 or 50 million thereabouts, right? So it's a big money for any person on this earth, right? This is a fantastic amount of money that can change your family's life forever, right? So, you know, nobody is begrudging Conor Benn for taking this deal. And on paper, as I said, it's a fantastic deal. However, the problem is that Conor Benn has to perform at a higher level to allow Zuffa Boxing and Dana White to make their money back. And if you look at Conor Benn right now, the question that you have to ask yourself is Conor Benn a big ticket seller in the UK? I would argue that Conor Benn is not a big ticket seller. Let's have a look at Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn, the first fight. The reason why that fight sold out Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the reason why that fight was so big is because it was Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn with both fighters' fathers behind them. And actually, what made the fight even such a big fight was Chris Eubank Jr. slapping Conor Benn with an egg, Chris Eubank Sr. deciding and telling the whole world that he was not going to get involved in the fight, allowed people to be even more intrigued, to talk about the fight more, right? This fight did not sell out Tottenham Hotspur Stadium because of Conor Benn, because, may I remind you, Conor Benn was public enemy number one because of the failed drugs test, and everybody was rooting for Conor Benn to lose. So people were not buying tickets to go and watch Conor Benn win, but rather people were buying tickets to watch Eubank Jr. beat Conor Benn. And of course, as I said, Eubank Sr. was one of the reasons why this fight, you know, was so big in the UK. And of course, both fathers' legacy was on the line, you know, family legacy, bragging rights. You know, the Eubanks have always had the upper hand over the Benns, and the Benns wanted revenge. This was the story about the first fight. And of course, the famous failed drugs test that Conor Benn, you know, failed. So Conor Benn did not sell Tottenham Hotspur Stadium by himself. So if Dana White is thinking that he's signing Conor Benn because he's such a massive star and he's going to sell a lot of tickets for him to recoup the money that he's investing in him, I think this could be a mistake, because yes, Conor Benn is very known in the sport of boxing, right? And that is because of the Eubank fight, and that is because of the failed drugs test, and that's because, you know, he's Nigel Benn's son. But Conor Benn by himself does not fill up stadiums. Conor Benn needs a dance partner. And for me, what that means is that Dana White will have to match Conor Benn really tougher in order to get people to be interested in the fight, in order for him to recoup his money. And who is going to be a tough fighter for Conor Benn? Someone like Boots Ennis, right? If Conor Benn is fighting Boots Ennis, everybody would love to see that because Boots Ennis is an incredible fighter. Conor Benn is a decent fighter. So what that means is that Conor Benn would have to fight the likes of Boots Ennis, who is incredibly dangerous, hits very hard, incredibly skillful, and just a monster. And for me, Conor Benn versus someone like a Boots Ennis is just a mismatch. Boots Ennis is going to absolutely destroy Conor Benn. So Conor Benn is going to come unstuck here with, tough matchmaking because he has to work hard in order to pay Dana White back for the investment that he's put in him. And Dana White is not going to sit there and watch Conor Benn fight anybody else, in a small arena and not make a lot of money. Dana White would want to get his money back. So Conor Benn would have to take tougher fights than he would normally would want to do, and he has to take more risk. And that is why I said this is probably a huge mistake for Conor Benn, because 1 or 2 losses in boxing and everybody is writing you off. And if Conor Benn should lose the next fight and then the second fight, he will be obsolete. Like, people will be thinking Conor Benn is done, get him out of here, whilst Dana White will be looking for Conor Benn to have more fights so he can get the investment, the money that he's put in him back. And then the second red flag is that Dana White and Zuffa Boxing is quite uncertain at this stage. Like, seriously, somebody please get in the comment section and let me know what Zuffa Boxing and Dana White really mean in boxing. Because we know that Dana White does not recognize any sanctioning body, right? Dana White's whole premise is that the Zuffa belt is the only belt that he recognizes in boxing. So what is Conor Benn really going to fight for? Because Ryan Garcia right now has become the welterweight champion of the world for the WBC, right? Is Conor Benn going to fight for the WBC belt? If he's fighting Ryan Garcia, is the WBC belt going to be on the line? Or is it just going to be the Zuffa belt? And also, Dana White is going back and forth with Mauricio Suleiman. So they have beef there. So is Conor Benn going to get this fight against Ryan Garcia? Because it's a big fight in the US. Dana White is not on good terms with Mauricio Suleiman. Mauricio Suleiman is not going to want to make a deal with Dana White. We know that the WBC are very close with their champions and they like to, give them leeway for them to misbehave in boxing. So best believe that Mauricio Suleiman is very close with Ryan Garcia. So I think that there's a massive problem here for Conor Benn, thinking that he will get the big fights that he's looking for, because I think it's going to be really difficult to make those big fights that he's looking for, because Dana White is not on good terms with Eddie Hearn, not on good terms with Mauricio Suleiman, not on good terms with Oscar De La Hoya, and these are all guys that are involved in making big fights in boxing right now. So is Conor Benn going to get the big fights in boxing that he so desperately needs? Or is Conor Benn going to fight obscure opponents in order to pay Dana White back for all the investment that he's made in him? I want you guys to get in the comment section and let me know what you think about this. Conor Benn's deal with Dana White potentially could be a huge mistake for both parties, because there are problems, there are red flags that surrounds Dana White and Conor Benn currently in boxing. Get in the comment section and let me know what you think about it.